Meeting to order and invite you to stand for the Lord's Prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. One second.
Need my agenda? Need my agenda?
No, I just wanted to see,
Okay.
see if there was something on this. Item 2.1, approval of the proposed revised 22-23 instructional calendar to make up hurricane days, parentheses change November 18th and 21st to full days from early dismissal.
Well, I'll second so we can discuss. I thought the superintendent was going to talk to us, right? Okay, I got you. I'll second.
Okay, no discussion, Crystal?
Well, I wanted Dr. Barfield to explain to us what her thought process was.
So in your board documents, you received this spreadsheet, thank you. And it breaks it down. The instructional minutes right now is not the concern. And the concern is that we paid the teachers back in May, not back in May, beginning of the year, we paid them for 3 days that we did not have a hurricane. The board we didn't have a school, I'm sorry. The board decided to go ahead and pay them. So the teachers got paid the 3 days. So now we have the 2 more days. Now if the board's willing to say no biggie, we'll also knock those days off as well, that's fine. But that's 5 days that the teachers are getting that they didn't work. I just want to bring that to your. So for the 2 days, it's about $97,000. All 4 days combined, it's $244,260. So it's quite a bit of money. But if we go back, if we were to work the 2, we're very close on our minutes. That's what I was explaining to board member Drake. That we're extremely close, and if any event happens, or if any weather event, or if we were to have a pep rally instead of instructional time, I think that it's just cutting it really close. And so my suggestion was to work the 2 half days, work the additional 2 hours instead of, they're already there, it's only 2 more hours. And I know that it's short term, it's short notice, but I think that instead of the teachers working 2 extra days, but if the board wants to forgive those days, they're
already here.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, that money to pay the teachers was already budgeted, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, they would have been, if they had been here, we would have paid them.
They already have been paid.
They've been paid, but it's not like we're adding that amount of money to our budget.
Correct.
That was already in the budget.
Correct.
The other thing I want to say is this Friday. I personally think that's too short notice. I had 4 teachers reach out to me and say, what if we've already got plans, travel plans, leaving, at whatever time. We do have a half day in March. If we want to do 2 half days, change them to full days because of the minutes thing, we can do the one in December and the one in March. That gives them a little more notice. That's where I stand in that.
That's fine. Well, I was thinking that since we're already here on the half days, to go ahead and do it that way versus making a whole nother day.
Well, I think if we do it in March, that's not gonna help the hour situation. And I didn't even realize we were trying to make up the time, because I don't think we.
Hold on a second. Mr. Aggressive, can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us.
Take 1 second, I need to fix your volume.
He's trying, huh?
Good try. All right, try it again.
Mr. Aggressive, can you hear us?
There he is.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. And so I think it's a twofold, it's kind of twofold. The time that the students are in class, I was thinking that since they were already there, we've already paid the bus, and it's not gonna save us any money, because you've already paid to get the buses there, to get the buses home. The teachers could work an additional 2 hours, and they could go home, instead of losing a full day. That was my, I don't know.
Okay, so I'm gonna add to the conversation a couple things I thought about. In the past, we had to work Thanksgiving week. We worked Monday, Tuesday, half a day Wednesday. And then several years ago, we brought in these hurricane days, the week of Thanksgiving. On the calendar, they were called hurricane days. Everybody knew if we're out for a hurricane, here's the day we're gonna make it up, and they could plan accordingly. So I feel like we need to stress that next year. We need to maybe put that in the contract, that if school is called, these are the day, so everybody knows, because I agree with Jean, I hate that it's kind of last minute. It's nobody's fault that it's last minute. I mean, the hurricanes were what they were, but I don't recall ever having to make up a contractual work day for a weather event. I don't think we've ever had to do that. Does anybody remember ever doing that?
Only, about maybe 10 years ago, whenever we had like 2 or 3 hurricanes and they were out that many times. But it's been so few lately that we had enough time already and they didn't have to. They had enough capacity.
Right.
So but we've had 2 this year, so that's a difference again.
And we're one of the few counties that was impacted by both.
Right.
I mean, the West Coast people had to deal with one and the East Coast, but a few of us counties had to. And I think the state will see that, I mean, I think they're gonna see, they called these days because of hurricanes and we have the number of hours. I mean, I would be willing to compromise and do either 1 half day or do the 2 that Jean suggested, but I'm not really for the one for this week either. I mean, I don't really feel like we have to do either of them.
Well, it's the
We don't,
boards.
unless there's a problem, and then they're gonna have to add on to the year.
Right.
But it's by semester, not by year.
Aggressive is talking. Go ahead, Mr. Aggressive.
The whole reason we're even talking about adding the 2 half days is because we want to try and have a little cushion as far as instructional minutes for high school half credits in the first semester. Changing the March half day to full day does nothing for that. There's plenty of hours in the second semester. We don't have to do that. I mean, that's a choice you can make if you want, but it's not going to fix anything. What my only concern is in the by state statute, in order to earn a half high school credit, a high schooler has to have 4,050 minutes of instructional time. So what I did is I made a chart. There are actually 88 days in the first semester. We lost 6. So that narrows it down to 82 days in the first semester. Of those 82 days, 80 days are full days, 2 days are half days. In the bell schedule for the high school, there are 50-minute periods. So 80 days times 50-minute periods gives us 4,000 instructional minutes. The other 2 days are early release days. The bell schedule says that they are 30-minute periods. 2 times 30 minutes is 60 minutes, which gives us a total of 4,060 minutes. Like I said, the minimum was 4,050 minutes. What I had said to a couple of board members is, I don't know if we are audited and they happen to look at our schedule in the high school for some reason, had some special pep rally for homecoming, and they had abbreviated schedule, so they had less minutes. Now your instructional minutes are going to go under what the state has said we're supposed to do. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't looked that far into it, to be quite honest. By changing a half day to a full day, it adds another 20 minutes of instruction to the total. So if we added 1 day, it would be up to 4,080 minutes. If we added the second day, it would be up to 4,100 minutes, which would be really one instructional day over what we're supposed to have. I mean, there are other options too. I mean, you can keep those 2 days if those are extremely important days. I mean, staff is really, teachers are supposed to be on campus at least an hour after the students go. So if they are leaving early, then that's when they would have to go. In a non-instructional contract, I don't believe it says that non-instructional can leave when the students go home. In fact, I just looked at it and I did not see that in a non-instructional contract. It's in a contract. Another option, if you wanted to, if you're worried about the minutes and you don't want to change those times, you could extend the first semester so that students came back on the Monday in January instead of having a work day. You could do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and have Friday as the work day for the end of the first semester. That way you would add 4 days to the first semester, so it would be up to 88 days. You would lose 4 days on the second semester, which would change it from 92 to 88 days. So there are other options you can do. Or you can leave it the way it is. It's up to you as a board and superintendent how you want to do it.
What day of the week is December 21st?
It is,
December 21st, you said?
December 21st is on a Wednesday.
That's not the half day you're,
Yeah, it is. That's
It
the
is?
second half day. Yeah.
oh, I thought it was Friday.
Mm-mm,
When is the last day of school?
the 21st.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry.
That's right.
I mean,
So the contract requires the teachers to stay 1 hour after the student dismissal.
Yeah.
So they're already planning on staying that extra hour.
I thought it was actually 1:30. I thought it was to 1:30. What time?
1 o'clock from what I understand.
I'll look at it while you're talking.
Okay.
I couldn't hear what.
He's checking to see if it's one. Usually on half days, we don't do
So it's
one.
different at every school. That's crazy too.
well, and I think too, and just, you know, when I was a principal, I said, I'm in a meeting, I don't, if you're not looking for me, I'm not looking for you sort of thing. And I know a lot of principals across the district do that. They let their teachers go as soon as the kids go.
It's at 1:15.
I always thought we had to stay till the last student went home and then we could leave.
Right.
That's what I remember.
So what does the contract say?
At 1:15 following student dismissal. dismissal on those days which are early release for students.
So what time do the students get out?
On the half days this year, it's been 11:30 before. But I believe on half days this year, it's written right here. Early release. 11:55.
So you could add an hour and 15 minutes to their day and not affect the teachers, right? The teachers are already supposed to be there till 1:15.
1:15.
So you could keep the kid, well, you couldn't keep them till 1:15 because you got to have
lunch.
dismissal time and all that. They do lunch anyway. They do
On
bag
early release?
lunches even on early release day.
I didn't know that.
Or the board could say, you know what, we're gonna give them the 2 days, and you've got till, just make sure it's, pray for no hurricanes. I mean, I don't know, I mean,
Well, I see that it could be a problem with something so soon.
To me, the compromise would be to go ahead and have the early release this Friday. And if you don't feel comfortable with the number of minutes, do it on the 21st. If you give them plenty of advance notice.
I would agree with that.
That you're gonna have to stay the whole day that day. It's crazy. I don't know how it happened. I guess I was in a cloud somewhere when we approved a calendar where they go through the 21st. We usually get out the Friday before Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's because it falls on a,
I always thought that we had all that time
Sunday.
because we had built in hurricane days.
We have very short time before Christmas and then
right.
extra time in January if we could have.
Yeah, December 21st is the early dismissal, and then they have 12 days over the break, and then they come back, the 9th is an in-service day. So, I mean, if y'all are concerned, and I'm concerned, I want the teachers, if they've made plans, I mean, obviously I want to be, thoughtful of that.
I kind of like one of Brian's suggestions is wait and end first semester in January.
You could still give your exam, couldn't you, before you left? Because that's the bad thing with doing that, because we used to do that. So, you're studying for an exam, and then you have a 2-week break, and then you come back and have the exam, and you may have forgotten, like if the teacher does a review.
Yeah,
But, I mean, it's not that big of a.
I made a comment to Gary Clark one time when he was superintendent about nobody studies over Christmas break for an exam, and you know what he told me? Abby does. Of course. Yeah, Abby would, right?
Well, they could review when they get back in January, a couple of days, and then have the exam.
Yes, sir.
And just a question as I'm thinking, now that we have a police in high school, we have to bring that into it. Also, when they start their second semester.
It's usually after ours, usually.
Will they start that first week in January or what?
They don't always coincide with your school, the start of their semesters.
Can't we just do the December thing without having?
That's what I was gonna say. I think we should just do the full day in December, not do anything don't do anything Thursday, and then go the full day in December. That gives everybody plenty of time.
I agree.
And some people have still bought tickets.
Well, when they need to take a personal day.
Or visit grandma or whatever.
They got
You
30
can't take
days
a
to
personal
figure it out.
day unless you.
I will waive it. If they have got plane tickets, I will waive it.
So we're
We're
gonna
not gonna say
say
that, though, are you?
that if they can prove
They
that
have plane tickets.
tickets or something, that they need to leave early on the
Before
21st,
Excuse absence.
she would approve a personal day,
By next week.
You approve that half of it.
a half day.
Correct.
But we're giving them a month's notice. You
And
know,
it's not that we're trying to impose a penalty. We're just trying to make sure we're
That we don't get
in
it.
compliance. And I didn't think about what he said until he said it just a minute ago, is we've already had pep rallies. We've already done things that would put us under these minutes. if we were audited and they were really getting nitpicky.
Well, and it's not just the student minutes. You've already paid the teachers too. You gotta think of it that way as well. But that's over $200,000 that we've spent that.
But see, to me, that's no one's fault. That's just a freak of nature. You know what I mean? Like wasn't their fault. It's not our fault.
Right, it's not our fault.
It's,
It's not costing us anything.
Right.
If we hadn't had the hurricanes, we would have paid them.
Mhm.
So I don't have a problem with that.
So we're gonna go with a half day in December.
Yeah.
We're gonna make that a full day.
One that's already an established half a day.
Correct.
Yeah, make a full day.
So we
Okay.
need
They're
to-
already here, it's not gonna cost any more.
On the
Okay.
21st.
So we need to make an amendment to our motion. Does the person who made it make the amendment, or somebody else? Patty, I think you need to.
I did.
And
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I had several teachers call me also. And, they were like, well, if this has to do with the half credit, why can't the high school just go to? Because that's not how it works. I'm so sorry. It's not just that easy. Okay, so 21st.
Is that good with the union?
Friday, yeah. This Friday is fine with me.
So Patty, you need to amend your your motion.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to approve, well, I'm gonna
Amend.
amend my original,
Yeah.
and this is how it's gonna go. For approval of proposed revised 2022-2023 instructional calendar to make up hurricane days. We're gonna change from November 18th, it will be December 21st. And instead of being a half day, it will now be a
Full
full.
day.
Can I get a second?
And I'll second the
Okay,
amendment.
all in favor?
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, 3.1, approval of initial consulting fee to Caleb Langdale, vendor for technology.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3.2, approve the 2023 health insurance proposal.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yes, have we had chosen days yet?
Check enrollment days.
The last week of November.
Twenty-
Right after Thanksgiving.
We won't be here, the last week in November will be at our conference.
You can do.
We'll be able to do it online.
You can do online enrollment.
Okay. Oh, I won't be here, so it'll be. All right, I didn't mind on the health last
You can do that too.
Same thing.
time. Okay.
I don't see how we can say no. I mean, it just, we're gonna save money. So
I had
and have-
other superintendents call me and say, how did y'all get that? So, I mean,
Because we're so sweet.
just because we're the sweetest freakers.
Because we do not argue in public.
Right.
And I have,
It's not as fun to watch though.
I know, well,
That's not us, that's our.
That's right.
I have to say, I have questioned having a, what is Mr. Reynolds' title?
Broker.
A broker, yes. But in this case, I kind of see why. And I did text with Mr. Aldrich about the change, like I asked him, why did they change it? And he couldn't remember at first, but then he said he thought that the state's fiscal year starts January 1.
No.
Does it? I
No,
didn't
the
think it
the state's fiscal year starts on July 1st.
Okay, it's the same as ours.
Yeah.
Because he said he thought that was why they changed it, because then you would know if your funding was gonna change, whether you were gonna get more or less in January, so he was
Insurance runs
mistaken.
on calendar years regardless of what your fiscal year as an entity starts. So, so remember, your insurance will always run from January to December. And so do you want me to get up and talk anything?
Like your deductible change.
Right. So the reason for the significance for this is because this is where your insurance is gonna monitor your out-of-pocket max, which is considered your co-pays that you pay for all of your insurances, any deductibles that you're responsible for, because once you reach your out-of-pocket max on the plan that you're enrolled in, you don't have to pay for anything else for the rest of the year. So that's why when you get, most people don't reach their out-of-pocket max. But if you have a major medical emergency on your family plan or just for you alone, and you end up reaching your out-of-pocket max in June, you have from June to the rest of December, and you can get all of your prescriptions for free. You get all of your co-pays, your doctor's visits, you don't have to pay for nothing. And so that's the reason why the out-of-pocket max is there. But that's also why they run it on a January to December. Because once January comes, it starts all over again. So that's why you can, with your insurance group, you can change your effective date to match your fiscal year, but they're not going to change the calendar year for your insurance. So, but that goes into like the length of contract that you have with your broker. You know, so you'll go from being on a 12-month contract to an 18-month contract. It really, there's a lot that goes into it. Really, it just depends.
Well, I've been looking at him for 20 years, so he's not going anywhere, I don't think. I mean, he would only bring us one, and sometimes like even just like a half of another, and sometimes it wasn't even for medical. You know, they wanted to just.
That's why it's very important that you have someone employed here that knows, at least knows something about insurance and knows how to talk to the brokers that you have.
And the thing that's really cool, if you retire, you can keep your insurance through his, on a personal basis. You can keep everything that you have, he still sells all of that out of his, you know, he's a broker for him. So you can go there, like, all of my stuff, you know, like my life insurance and all that. If I retired, I could pay him directly.
Yeah, well, if you retire with the school board allows you to keep your insurance through.
Oh, no.
But you're saying with him personally?
Yeah, I could, yeah. In other words, you know, you don't want to build equity up in anything.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Wait, don't go. So is there any reason that we should try to change our insurance effective date to July 1? Is there any benefit to doing that? Because I'm thinking about bargaining. Because, you know, we never know when we're bargaining the contract what the insurance cost is going to be. So we make a guess, and then, you know, like this year, we're going to come out good because we guessed an increase and we're not having an increase, effectively not having an increase. So, but I hate that we finish the contract, we're good to go, except insurance. Like, can they quote you a price that would be good?
So,
you know, I don't know. It just seems like the timing isn't good the way we currently do it.
Right, so that's a good question, and again, there's a lot of running parts when it comes to that, a lot of things to look at, and especially from the financial end of things. But to just so that you are aware, the market, insurance markets are actually based out in London. You may not know that, but that's where they're based out of. And our brokers should start looking into the market in January. There's no reason why we shouldn't have information to us by June. And so
that would be effective the following January.
No, as far as like rates and stuff. So
that would go into
right. So that way, right.
So we should know.
Yes.
But they're not gonna have all of the, they're not gonna have all of the claims information for
so that's also.
We were so high in claims, we waited ourselves so that it wouldn't.
Right, so that's also the downfall of that too, changing it is your entity's utilization. So if they quote you in June, they're not gonna know what, for the rest of the year, what your utilization is looking like.
So that's not gonna.
But there's different ways to look into that. There's different ways to
just keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We need a motion and a second. Does anybody have other questions? All in favor?
I need the motion to say the amount that you're agreeing to pay.
Okay, hang on, let's see, I'll get the thing back.
Please.
Who made the motion?
Ms. Pierce. So do we want to keep Florida Blue? And then agree to pay the $735.62?
I don't have any of it.
Is it not?
The seven, is it the $735.62?
$735.62, yes, ma'am. I don't have, go ahead.
Oh, I can't.
Go ahead,
make a
Crystal.
motion.
I
Well,
don't
you've
have
already
it.
made a
I've
motion.
got all this stuff. Yeah, but I don't have any of that information in front of me. I wasn't told to give a dollar amount.
Well, it's $735.62. And that is Florida Blue. So you just have to say that we agree to renew with Florida Blue. And this is the district contribution.
Okay, make a motion to approve the 2023 health insurance proposal in the amount of $735.62 per employee with Florida Blue.
Second on that motion?
So that was an amendment.
Okay, well, if it was an amendment, then
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
3.3, approve new elementary school survey 5 version 2.
Mr. Gresseth, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. The survey was done, just a lot, much longer. It includes all the costs that would be incurred to get special facilities funding for the new elementary school. The funding includes the new bus barn, and also raising the old school and modeling some of the buildings for district office and possibly even for an EOC building. All the figures are based upon the land area that was agreed upon by the board. So really what the survey is saying, if you're agreeing upon this, you're agreeing upon these numbers for that site.
The one adjacent to the Challenger Park.
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay.
So it includes a new bus facility and the demolition of the existing elementary school.
Yeah, if you look through the different pages, like in the first grouping, it'll talk about the new school. It's a total of $25,924,185, and that includes site improvement of almost $4 million, site development of just over $9 million, and new construction of around $13 million. And as you page, it'll tell you exactly the number of classrooms, because we're looking at 501 student stations for the school. And then further down, you'll see where it talks about the new bus barn. There's a site improvement of over $3 million, and the remodeling, which is about $262,000. And then further down, it talks about the old elementary, where it's really looking at demolishing the older building and then remodeling the original building and building. That's going to be about $5 million.
What did you say about an EOC?
Well, one of the things we had talked about is using one of the rooms in the Ritchie building for possibly even like an EOC, because we don't have an alternative placement school right now. And by utilizing that becomes a student space, and we actually got funding for that.
So the price includes the renovation of those two buildings for the district offices and the alternative school?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was 35 million, right?
34,291,421.
What are buildings 1, 3, 4, 6, and 7, and 9, and 9? Like just,
It's the Ritchie building and that classroom building in front of it.
okay,
The pre-K building.
okay.
Because we're going to be demolishing the 30-plus-year-old portables that we have district offices in right now.
Thank you, Brian. Do we need to approve this?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the new elementary school survey 5 version 2.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
What are you laughing for?
Because sometimes we're a stickler about making the motion in second before we discuss.
Oh,
And
yeah.
sometimes we skip that. So
Sometimes
I don't know if presentations by, you know, like he just gave, I don't know if that is part of our discussion or not, really, that's, I don't know where that's supposed to go. We'll find out.
We'll slap ourselves on the head.
Yeah, before you do anything, before anybody even speaks, you have to do the first.
And we used to do it the opposite way when I was
Yeah.
a junior member of the board, so whatever,
Yes,
anyway.
yes.
We got the business done, we got the business done today.
We've been doing it right. We're usually always- We're getting it.
Okay. I'll adjourn the meeting.
All right.
Thank you all.
Good.